I just want to say how grateful, how blessed we are to be here. The hospitality has been fantastic, and there's so many hours that went into planning this trip, not only internally in the organization, but from the National Football League, and also the people here. So it's been a great trip so far, and I just pray that our players stay healthy, have a great week, and enjoy themselves, learn, and look forward to a great football game this weekend. And thank you all for making the trip here, whether you're here locally or coming from Chicago. With that said, I'll open it up to any questions. One of my favorite subjects. Thanks for asking that. Status is we're continue to make progress. We have a plan. We stay focused still to be able to be in the ground, start construction sometime in 2025. There's a lot of activity that's still going on. We're having regular meetings with key business leaders, key politicians, just staying focused and on course. This is a long journey. On any of these stadium projects, you try to make it as straight of a journey as you possibly can, but this takes time, it takes a lot of effort, it takes a lot of energy. I've been there before, and so we're exactly where I thought we would be at this point in time. That is the focus right now, and I think when you see last weekend, if we're at the game on that beautiful day in Chicago, with the lake, the nice breeze, it just shows again what we've been talking about. That museum campus is fantastic, and especially with the backdrop of Chicago and the architecture of that city. So that remains our focus at this point in time.
Kevin, do you feel the Chicago site is imminent or inevitable?
I don't know saying imminent or inevitable. I think it's the best site, as of now, because one of the things we have to do, and is great about traveling here, and it's a reminder of how small this world is, and that's one of the reasons why we're here, is to shrink the world. When you look at the infrastructure, when you look at the city of London, you look how things are built here, we have an opportunity in Chicago to really think creatively out of the box, to say that we have a piece of land. I still argue it's the most beautiful piece of land in the world, with the lake, with the downtown, with the museum campuses, and what can we do to be able to pull all that together in and around the museum campuses, downtown, the lake, a football stadium, green space. And so I look at it as an opportunity.
Do you feel like there's a scenario exists where there's just too many hoops to jump through in Chicago, bag it, and go to Arlington Heights? Is that a possible scenario?
Again, our focus right now is on Chicago.
Have you been worn down by the book? You're so optimistic about it. You just seem to be running to the left.
Me worn down? Never. No, never. No, this is, again, if just we look back what we went through in Minnesota. You look back, what's going on in Kansas City. These stadium projects, that's why you do them once every 30, 40, 50 years. I'm actually energized by it, because anything that's great in life, anything that lasts 50 years takes a lot of energy and effort. And I'm confident in the political leadership, the business leadership, our fan base, that we'll be able to figure this out. And so it will become a crown jewel for the National Football League, and I look forward to being able to host mega events, not only being able to bid for the Super Bowl, but Final Four, college football games, concerts, all those different things. These are not easy projects. And so again, I'm energized, I'm excited, it's been good to work together. We learn something each and every day, and we'll continually to move forward.
Kevin, we saw a scene in Hard Knocks where you guys were actually working on a stadium plan.
Yes.
The actual building. Are you guys attacking this as if you can start putting that together wherever that stadium is actually located?
One of the things you want to do, and that's a great question, is you want to build a stadium where it really becomes agnostic from a location standpoint, because it takes so much time from a planning standpoint. So you need to make sure your construction fits. The focus is the museum campus. Yes, that was a scene in Hard Knocks, and we were talking about different, seating locations and level of seatings and quality of seats and sight lines and all that. These projects take a while, and I just wanted to make sure collectively, on behalf of the organization, that when we are able to break ground, that we're prepared. And so we've continued to work from a political standpoint, from a business standpoint, and also from a stadium design standpoint, just coloring.
If the goal is still to start construction 2025, what is the theoretical next step in order to be able to get that?
Yeah, the theoretical next step is to continually work forward and ultimately get approval from a political standpoint. And there's some political milestones here that come exist. I mean, you have a fall veto session, you have a session in January, you have the session, next year. So there are steps, but we want to make sure that we're prepared at that point in time. But I feel, if I go back and look at my notes when I even started this job in regards to the stadium, right where we are right now is where I thought we would be, and we're going to continually stay positive and push forward.
And when you said that, every day that goes forward, prices obviously are going to go up.
Yes.
Everything. And you said you are where you want to be, but I imagine there are contingency plans. I mean, did you reach a point where it's just the costs are too much and you have to find a way to shift? Is that
And I'm glad you raised that question. We actually are in a period of time now, and that's one of the reasons why we want to stay ready to go, because the Fed lowering the interest rates actually helps us from a borrowing and cost of finance standpoint. But we're watching that daily, what happens with Chairman Powell. We're watching it daily, the cost of steel. All those things go into it. And so this becomes truly a matrix that you have to put together from a financial, business, operation, construction standpoint. But this is a good period from a construction standpoint because interest rates are lower.
The NFL
I'll come back.
private equity, is that something that the Bears, that you guys have considered to this point, and is that something that can help you with this project?
From a private equity standpoint, yes, the NFL did approve that. I mean, there's some parameters and guardrails around it. I'm actually in the process, myself and some of our senior staff members are working through truly understanding the different machinations of how private equity would work, in the National Football League. I want to make sure any decisions we make don't create any unintended consequences. At this point in time, it's not something that we're focused on and exploring in Chicago, but I say that to say these next couple months, my focus will be to make sure I truly understand how the private equity system would work in the National Football League. There hasn't been a team announced yet, who's gone and accepted the opportunity from private equity standpoint, but I already started a couple weeks ago, the moment it was actually announced, and I will spend the next couple months really digging deep into not how it only operates, but the financial implications, what happens down the road. And so that's a great question, and probably in about 2 months, I'll be more educated to say the impact that private equity not only will have on the National Football League, but any of these stadium projects that are occurring.
Are you concerned at all that public funding for the project will not come through?
I mean, concern is probably a strong word. I'm focused on making sure, that we structure the best financial deal for all parties involved. And, I have to understand the realities, no different than interest rates dropping. You have to be prepared. So I watch everything. I go into these kind of negotiations and this process of making sure we understand what exists, what are the opportunities that exist. And I don't look at these negotiations as a winner and a loser. I look at it collectively. What can we do collectively? What's in the best interest of the state of Illinois, downtown Chicago, the Chicago Bears, the National Football League? All those things are combined. And what you try to do, I want everyone to be able to walk away to say this was a beneficial exercise and an opportunity that even made us better. So this can't be a winner and a loser. It has to be what makes us better. And that's the exciting part about working on these projects.
Still a strong relationship with the mayor, and believe that he's, on board with the museum campus plan?
I feel that, one of the things, and if you spent time with me, the relationships are critically important to me. So we've stayed close with individuals in the city of Chicago. We've stayed close with individuals in Arlington Heights. We're the largest landowner there. And we've stayed close to individuals in the governor's office, from a Springfield standpoint. So I just continually work on building relationships, looking for ways that we can collectively work together to do what's right. And this stadium here in Chicago will be a game changer, not only for the National Football League, for the Chicago Bears, but primarily for the state of Illinois.
Kevin, thanks. A follow-up on the stadium design question. You have at no point ruled out Arlington Heights, but we have seen a design for the stadium on the lakefront. We've seen them picking out details on that. Does most or all of the design for the lakefront stadium transfer to a potential Arlington Heights option? Would it look the same?
One of the things we've tried to do, and I'm glad you asked that question, as I said a little bit ago, is to build a stadium that, from an agnostic standpoint, is built in a manner, because what you want to do, you want to build a great building, and you want to build a building that has an environment, creates an environment for our fans to really enjoy the Chicago Bears and to be able to attract all these other events. The building that we are designing right now has all of those attributes. It doesn't mean that it wouldn't have some tweaks and changes, but the building on its face needs to make sure that it is and it does fit for what we're trying to accomplish. And that's what we've done so far. David Manica, who's a world-class architect, he built, Allegiant Stadium. He's worked on buildings internationally. And so we are extremely pleased and blessed and honored to be able to work with him, and it's an attractive building. Every meeting that we had one within the last 2 weeks, it actually becomes better. And regardless, you want to make sure you have glass, you have views. It's a tight bowl. You heard Ryan talk about even here, making sure that our fans are noisy, but we want to create a holistic environment that only works for National Football League games, for the Chicago Bears, but for these other world-class mega events that we're going to attract.
Would you describe it as concurrent planning for the two sites, or is it?
I wouldn't say the museum campus is the focus.
Kevin, over 2 years ago, before you got here, the Bears had a big town hall in Arlington Heights with renderings of pretty much everything except the stadium. And a lot of that talk was about the benefits of building more than a stadium on land that you own. That's obviously not the situation at Lakefront.
Correct.
It hasn't been the situation on Lakefront for a long time. There's been plenty of headaches. I'm curious why we get the site and the views and everything, the lakefront and all that, but why what you are envisioning of the lakefront right now is overriding all those benefits that we're talking about over 2 years ago in Arlington?
I don't say it's overriding. Again, these process, and I look forward to the press conference we have at the ribbon cutting, and we'll be able to look back on this. They are fluid. And so it's not about overriding, because every piece of land, every location is not the same. And I'm one of those individuals that looks at the benefits of every location. And if you look at the museum campus, it has attributes that don't exist anywhere in the world. Arlington Heights has attributes that are really unique. You have 326 acres, it's split by a river. There's things that you can do there from a mixed-use development. But I always look at it, it's no different than a game plan in football. What are the positive attributes? And so now, because we're focused on the museum campus, there's certain attributes that has. Yes, it's not 326 acres. There's things you won't be able to do that you could do in other locations. But when you look at the benefits of Chicago and what's it mean, is just different. And that's what makes it exciting about this project.
Kevin, looking ahead to next year, Madrid has its first next year, and the Bears have marketing rights.
Yes.
In Spain, how much do you want to see the team be playing in that game, and if so, has there been any kind of informal, lobbying with other teams of the league to say, hey, we want to play that game?
I am extremely positive about international growth. I've made that clear. It's a blessing to be here today. We have 40 million fans worldwide. And one of the things you find by coming over here, we had a full day at work on Monday, actually worked out before we left. You get on a bus, you get on a plane, and you wake up in London. And you realize, one, how small this world is. And my focus will remain to shrink the world. The National Football League is an absolutely vibrant entity. And anytime you get a chance to play on an international basis, I want to lean into it. We're leaning into this year. It's been fantastic to see the number of fans here. And when you see people in London walking down the street in Ditka sweaters and Refrigerator Perry jerseys and all those different things, it's magnificent. So I'm all about shrinking the world. We have the UK region, as you said. We have Spain. And I'm one of those individuals that when we get an opportunity to play from an international standpoint, to grow our fan base. The other thing about coming here, it grows the younger demographics. And that's what even made Hard Knocks, unique, the number of individuals at a younger age who are watching and being attracted to the Chicago Bears. And that's one of the things that I want to make sure we do in honor of George Halas, the McCaskey family, keep our traditional values of what the Chicago Bears have been built upon, but also to continually innovate and to create and get a younger demographics. You look what we have going on downtown today, a collaboration between Asset FC, a local London designer, and also Mitchell & Ness, to be able to do those different collaborations. So anytime I get an opportunity to lead an organization, to come internationally, I'm ecstatic, I'm excited about it. I love what the National Football League is doing, and this just reiterates the power of the Chicago Bears brand around the world, and we're able to shrink the world and get new fans. We'll pick up new fans this week that we didn't have last week, which makes this an exciting experience.
How do the political hurdles involved with the Chicago Stadium compare to the political hurdles you had to clear in the previous stadium that you were a part of? I mean, is it possible that these hurdles in Chicago are just taller and bigger and harder to clear?
I would say they're the same. I mean, just I think all these stadium hurdles are similar, but just speaking from my experience in the Twin Cities of Minnesota to Chicago, they're similar, and that's just part of it. And also there's other ancillary outside items, what you have going on. And, from things that are going on. The thing that I get attracted about this stadium is to be able to, like I said, what's the price of steel? What's going on with the Fed? What's going on with interest rates? Decisions by Chairman Powell? What's going on Wall Street? All these things have an impact, in a very creative way. I like being intellectually challenged. So the hurdles, are very similar. They're not the same, but they're similar. And I enjoy working on these kind of projects. The other thing that it does, it brings our organization together at that level to be able to work on it.
That's one right here, that's one.
Back to the question about the international series. Where do the Bears stand on the proposal for 16 games every year? How do you feel about going abroad every single year to play a game?
Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting, proposal. I'm all for international growth and opportunities. I mean, you think of it, and I look at it, how opportunities like this can help galvanize an organization. I mean, look at this facility here and have our players spend this much time together. And also, I'm always excited about opportunities that can help our players and staff grow, to be able to travel. I mean, one of the greatest learning lessons in life is the ability to travel. My mother was an elementary school librarian, and this is before internet and all the things that we've had that distract people nowadays. Is when I would spend afternoons in the library with her, she had a globe in her library. She would tell me to spin the globe, close my eyes, and put my finger down, and then it'd land there, then go get a book and read about it. And so now to be able to come to life, I mean, even going to Wembley for a football game, going to Tottenham, playing in Tottenham, and some of the things, seeing Big Ben and Parliament and learning about Winston Churchill. I mean, these are things that it becomes an extension of the classroom. So I'm excited for our players, our coaches, our staff. I'm grateful to the McCaskey family for supporting us to be able to do this in a first-class manner. And the NFL has done an outstanding job. So to be able to have a chance to come here and play, I mean, I watched the game last week while we were getting ready, for our game between the Jets and the Vikings. And so, this truly is a global brand. I love the UK. I love international travel. And I love to see our fans here in London.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for your time. All right.